In the morning, presented by First Commonwealth Bank, and it's AM 1160 WCCS 101.1 FM. She is Jessica Clark from the Care Center of Indiana County. It's been a while since we've had you here. Good morning.
For having me back.
Oh, it's good to have you here in talking about a very, very important topic and a very important event that is coming up at the end of this week. Pinwheels for Prevention, the Garden of Hope, will be back at the Indiana County Courthouse as we draw attention to National Child Abuse Prevention Month. And what a scary topic it is, isn't it?
It is a scary topic, but I think it's something that we need to talk about because it is happening. In Indiana County, the Care Center, and I'm not sure that everybody's aware of what we do, but we provide forensic interviews for children when there are allegations of physical or sexual abuse. We work very closely with Indiana County Children and Youth Services, Indiana County District Attorney's Office, State Police, local police, borough police, Alice Paul House, Indiana Regional Medical Center, and the Community Guidance Center. And we put together a little team when there are allegations that need to be investigated with a child. And we have the child come in, sit down with a forensic interviewer, and simply tell their story in a non-leading fashion so that we can hopefully get to the truth and hopefully provide a good baseline for the entire team in the investigation.
And in order to do that, you must be very, very sensitive to what the child has allegedly gone through, but also you must provide an environment in which they'll feel comfortable enough to let everything out.
Absolutely. We are tasked, that's one of our accreditation standards, to provide a child-friendly environment, and we work very hard at that, not just physically, but very welcoming environment when the kids come in so that it's not intimidating for them, so that they understand that we're here for them.
Is yours an agency unique to Indiana County, or are there a network of agencies such as yours across the Commonwealth?
There are a network of agencies. They're called Children's Advocacy Centers. And there has really been a resurgence in the last 10 years with children's advocacy centers across the state. There's new ones that have formed in the last couple of years in surrounding counties. There's a new one in Johnstown. There's new children advocacy centers in some of the more rural counties across the state, which is a good thing because previously these kids, when there were allegations, were having to travel a long distance to go in and talk to a forensic interviewer, and now most of them have one in their county.
As adults, people might be reticent to testify in a courtroom setting. It's very intimidating. We can't imagine what that's like as for a child to have to go through something like that. So your service really is something that not only bridges a gap, but in many cases it can eliminate that having to be done?
Well, it certainly helps with it. It doesn't eliminate it, but it certainly helps with the child because you're absolutely right. To sit in front of a judge in a courtroom and a jury to testify is overwhelming for an adult, let alone being a child. So the forensic interviews are a way that the child can come into a safe, natural environment and talk and not necessarily be intimidated by their surroundings.
Yeah. And certainly by the fact that the accused is going to be sitting right there in the courtroom with them, and frequently that's a parent, and the child is going to be very, very, very guarded about his or her responses.
Absolutely. And it's intimidating. It is. It's intimidating for a grown-up to sit there and talk about something that happened to them when the perpetrator is in the room, let alone a child. A lot of times children won't even talk if if the perpetrator is in the room.
Yeah.
So that's what's so nice about the advocacy center is that we don't allow the perpetrator on site when the child is talking, because sometimes the perpetrator is a family member. Sometimes they're a parent. Sometimes they're a friend of the family. And we want the child to feel uninhibited about talking.
Jessica Clark is with us, the Care Center of Indiana County, and we've been talking about what it is and how the organization operates. You have an event coming up this week that is very, very important for people to take part in simply because it calls attention to the idea of child abuse, and it's a very visual manifestation of just how deep the problem is.
Well, child abuse is obviously a very dark subject. So we wanted something that symbolized hope for these kids. That's why we have pinwheels. pinwheels are supposed to be the symbol of hope and innocence of children, and we wanted there to be light at the end of the tunnel for these kids. We have the pinwheels, and we plant them on the front lawn of the Indiana courthouse, and they stay up for the entire month as a symbol of the kids in Indiana County that we serve and the hope for them and their futures. We have to invest in our kids. We have to help these kids so that they can move on, recover, and grow up to be healthy adults, because it costs more in the long run if you don't.
Absolutely. So you're going to gather at the courthouse on Friday afternoon?
Absolutely.
Right at noon?
Yes, Friday, March 31st at noon. We will be on the courthouse lawn. We will have our pinwheel planting ceremony with the help of the Indiana County Commissioners, the District Attorney. We will have a lot of our board members there. Katie Haberl-Thomas and Matt Simon will both be talking, as will I. And it's supposed to be a celebration is what we want it to be. It's going to be fun. We're going to plant our pinwheels. It's going to be our kickoff for the month of April and all of our activities for child abuse awareness. And we just want people to see that there is a good ending sometimes.
Is there a chance for people still to buy a pinwheel and have it planted?
Absolutely. We are still selling pinwheels. We will be selling them up until Friday, and even after Friday, you can still buy a pinwheel. The small ones are $20. You can get 3 pinwheels for $50. A large pinwheel with your name on it, and you can put it in honor of someone, is $100. And then we have corporate sponsorships for $250. And we are very pleased that the county residents have responded to our need and have started purchasing pinwheels.
April is National Child Abuse Prevention Month, and we're talking this morning with Jessica Clark from the Care Center of Indiana County. And one of the things that I remember speaking with you before about is abuse has very obvious signs, but there are also cases of abuse that aren't so obvious, that are rather hidden. Intimidation, mental abuse, all of those sorts of things. Those are all dangerous as well.
Absolutely. There's a bunch of different kinds of abuse for the kids, and some of them are much harder to pinpoint and talk about. There's obvious, parents who mentally abuse their kids as well as physically or sexually, and that's much harder to pinpoint. Obviously, we try to work with these families when, some abuse has been identified. We try to, in our family preservation programs, do parenting, get the parents to understand about discipline, get the parents to understand about child development, because sometimes it's just a lack of knowledge that the parents may not be parenting appropriately. And so we work with those families. But yeah, there are not just physical signs, there are mental signs of abuse as well.
Yeah, and those are the signs. Well, a kid is going to carry those with them for a long, long time unless they're properly managed and addressed by the folks who are there to help them.
Absolutely. We use a team. We can't do this by ourselves. We have a multidisciplinary team. We use a victim advocate from the Alice Paul House. We use a mental health caseworker from the Community Guidance Center and a caseworker from Children and Youth Services. And they really come in to provide the support services for the kids and the parents when something happens, because it doesn't just affect the child, it affects the whole family. So we like to identify what services we can provide and, see that process from beginning to end.
Are the forensic interviews that are managed by the Care Center, are they admissible in court?
Absolutely. Yes, They can be used in court if they go to trial. A lot of times they don't end up going to trial. They end up getting worked out before. But the forensic interviews are designed to be used in court. That's why we have such strict protocols about talking to the kids and the questions we ask. They have to be non-leading. They have to be the kid has to introduce the abuse and what they want to talk about. And we do this on purpose because we want what the kid brings forth, the abuse that they discuss, we want it to be able to stand on its own in court. We don't want there to be any question that the child was led to say what they say. So when we're talking to the kids, we have to be very careful about the language we use, how we ask questions, And it can be a very frustrating, difficult process. We have a very good forensic interviewer, forensic interviewers, I should say. We have a couple of them, and they do an excellent job.
And they must have had to have gone through some pretty extensive training in order to do that.
It's a very extensive training program, and there's ongoing training as well. You don't just get trained and stop. There's constant training, and there's a lot of peer reviews that they do. And just so you know, it's a labor of love. The forensic interviewers that we have, they don't necessarily make a lot of money. They're doing this out of their conviction to help these kids.
The Care Center of Indiana is going to be having this event, Planting the Pinwheels for Prevention Garden of Hope, at the Indiana County Courthouse coming up on Friday at noon. You don't have to wait until Friday to buy a pinwheel, do you? You can call ahead?
Absolutely. You can give us a call. It's 724-463-8595. You can also stop in at our facility, 125 North 5th Street.
There you go.
And we'll be happy to get you your pinwheel. We would be happy to have you support us. These kids really do need our help. We're a nonprofit, so it's not, we're not, we don't have a lot of funding. So every little bit helps, and all the money that people donate goes directly to the children in Indiana County. It doesn't go anyplace else.
Yeah, and I know you'd love to see a lot of people show up at noon on Friday at the courthouse to show support for the children as well.
Absolutely. We have a lot of good support from some of the county officials, and we'd love to see the public come. And you can learn more about what we do, because I don't know that enough people know about our services.
Beautiful. Jessica, thank you so much for coming in to visit with us. I'm going to blame you for not being here sooner. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. We do need to be sure that we keep up to date with you, though, that folks can continue to know about the ongoing problems of abuse of children. Mm-hmm. And certainly during the month of April, we'll highlight that fact that it is Child Abuse Prevention Month all across America.
Yes. Thank you so much, Todd.
My pleasure. It is Indiana in the Morning, presented by First Commonwealth Bank here on AM 1160 WCCS 101.1 FM.